What's up, guys? That got the pencil here, back for another edition of Tier List Tuesdays, and we are here to discuss the characters from Doctor Stone. We got a long way to go, so I'm just gonna hop into it real quick. Okay, let me just be quick with it. Like y'all see, we got an extra tier today, so that's Divinity. Cause yeah, I'm putting some characters up there. However, like this is once again, this is just actually no, you can't even go there because you actually did something. Any of these characters that I don't initially recognize on sight, they're all going into Why Do You Exist, and it's not their fault. It's really not, because these are built to be just background filler characters. I mean, you know what? I know I can't even say that. I'm not sure if any of these characters are dead, but and like I'll admit this, a lot of the space crew. I'll put the space crew in the meh. I just don't remember their names because we got so little of them. They're super important story-wise because obviously we wouldn't have the village, Ishigami Village, without them. But specifically, I don't think that they had anything much really to provide. So let me just see if I can slide all of them. Actually, I just thought he was funny. All right, and once again, meh. Yeah, I'm gonna keep that as. Actually, you don't know. You can go into OK too, Lillian. Actually, from a little we got of her, I do like her. Once again, I'm just going through characters. He's a man. Real quick, just sorting everything out. There are a lot of characters that we actually need time to discuss, and can't do that if people are taking space. You are a blank in my mind. Who knows? Actually, once again, you actually get to go in. No, I'll explain you later. Let me see. Is that everyone? You also can get right on out of here. Alright. If there's anyone else that I end up stumbling across, you know where they're going. They're going straight on out of here. Definitely going to get gone. Let's see. Yeah, that's it. I think that's good. And the reason all these characters are where they are is because they've had either little or no story implication. Like everyone in Why Do You Exist, I think they were just there for character filler slots, just to have them there, just to fill up the village, so it's not like 10, 20 people. And I can understand. I can respect that. I can see what that is. For the ones in Meh, I mean, they have some appearances. That's just Magma's sidekick at the bottom of Meh. Doesn't really do much. I'm not sure if he has a name. Space crew member. They're important because, of course, the village wouldn't exist without them, but I don't remember much of their personalities. And I read the reboot side story, and I thought the reboot side story was going to be like them living their lives and we get a full-on build-up until they die, but no, it follows Rey, the machine in space. So, there's that. And that's good. And then if Rey's on this list, I'll definitely talk about her. I think Lillian's was pretty good because we have a little bit of personality from her, and ancestor, very, very important story-wise, character-wise. And I think Kohaku's dad is funny. that's really all I got. That's why he's an okay. Let's discuss characters now. Let's actually get into characters. You know what? Since you're wondering, like, yo, why is the dog up here? The dog was actually pretty darn good. Like, he's used to sniff out stuff. And he's with Sukiya. And Sukiya's fantastic, and I really hear no arguments. Wait till we get to Sukiya. Y'all gonna hear me talk about Sukiya. But yeah, Chocolate's pretty good. He's okay. So is the pig, because it led them to oil. And without oil, there would be absolutely nothing they could do, because they just didn't have the options to do anything without the oil that pig led them to. So that's pretty darn impressive. If we're gonna get into like characters that I actually just consider okay, because they didn't have much. Actually, I don't know. I'd even say Emerald's is pretty great, and Emerald's really great just because the way we're introduced to her, and I feel like we're getting Emerald's like redo with Luna, who's just recently introduced in the latest chapters. But Amaryllis having such a personality, like a lot of female characters are blown away by Senku's like distant nature, like how he doesn't care anything about them. And I found her reaction to it the funniest because she literally is just so bamboozled. I think she tries multiple times to be like, Senku, and he looks at her like, No, you're disgusting. Now stay away from me and provide me with science. I don't know. I find that funny, but that's really it. I think that's good. I like how she introduces us to the Petrification Island. That's really, really cool because, and she's just really, really pivotal. Like, she introduces us to the Petrification Island. That's an entire basis of the entire arc. She's the one who has that, shockingly, for a character that came out of nowhere, pretty shockingly tragic backstory where she just barely survived the petrification rate because she tore her hair off, and that's an important part that's noted for later that Senku discovers things with. Then she's, of course, the whole reason they could even infiltrate the main palace, which leads to the whole conclusion of the entire arc in the positive favor for the Kingdom of Science. So, all of that, really, really respectable, and honestly pretty great. It's just, I don't have much more to discuss about her, and I think she definitely is like a tier above all the other ones. Yes, including the two animals, the dad and the singer. Yep. If I had to talk about Soyu's dad, no. If I had to talk about Senku's dad, I'd say I really like Senku's dad, just because he seemed so proud. Like, he was 12 out of 10 proud father supporting his son with everything he could do remotely to even support his son. Like, and it's even shown more in the latest chapters. Like, he gave up his car so Senku could get a lab set for Christmas. He worked hard to become an astronaut initially, gave up, but then allowed Senku to help him out, in quotation marks, even though it didn't work at all. But it gave him the will to swim and breathe and go on. And then he's once again the whole reason a lot of things can even happen in the future, but to like an extreme degree. He knew the important metals that they would need and preserved that in the capsule. He knew enough about science for everything in the future to work out. He knew so many good, important things that were going to be needed, like platinum, like gold, all these rare metals that he could find. He put them in there because he believed in his son. He believed that he would become unpetrified. He put so much faith in Senku, and that's really, really good. And I love how he just cares so much for it. Like, and that's his adoptive son. It's not even his kid, but he treats Senku like his kid, and that's really respectable. He's a really good character, honestly. And the way, even in the latest chapter, he's the one who proposes, like, yo, what would you do? Blah, blah, blah. Whole world turns to stone. And when Dr. Zeno's just like, yo, I become a despot. I take over everything. He's the one who's just like, well, there's going to be another kind of scientist rolling up, ready to meet you and take you on. And that's really, really good. I like that because it shows that he's not just a nice guy who believes in like all science is good, but no, he has values. He has moral values. He has beliefs. He trusts in people. He doesn't trust in some people. He has faith in certain philosophies and doesn't believe in other philosophies. He's really, really great. And just to revise the tier list a little bit, because we're gonna move some characters down. I think Lillian can say it okay. Actually no. Emerson's staying great. But yeah, that's what the tier list is looking like right now. If I had to get into anything else about Senku's dad, it's just his willpower. Like, the man not only rebuilt an entire robot on his own from computer motherboards, which ended up protecting the planet for 3,700 years, but then he ended up going back to Earth, creating an entire village, creating the 100 Tail, which allowed the entire village to survive for as long as it did, for Senku to rediscover them later on. Man did so much. He's honestly perfection. He's a fantastic, perfect dad. He did everything great for the future and everything like that. All around great. Chrome, also really great character. Just because I like how inspired he gets by Senku. Because Senku is what Chrome wants to be. He wants to be the respected sciencer or magician or whatever. He wants to be able to be as good. And the way Chrome always adapts to a situation. Like, my boy, it gets thrown in so many rough situations. Like, he ends up, and the thing is, he throws himself into rough situations because he cares about others. Like, he gives me a lot of Taiju vibes. Because he's determined to do what he does best. Like, he's just, I'm the #1 explorer, and I can do what Senku can't do, and I'm gonna surpass you one day, Senku. Like, it's almost a rival to Senku, but obviously he's not really gonna surpass Senku. So it's just like watching this character drive so hard for something they believe in, which is science. He believes a lot in science, and that's where he wants to go, onward and forward, because he's just ludicrously determined. And when he ends up not snitching on his friends, when he's in a situation where they're just like, yo, we'll kill you right here, right now. I mean, no, Tsukasa didn't care at that point. Like, Tsukasa was 12 out of 10 ready to murder this man. Like, you gonna tell me where the village is, you gonna tell me what resources you have, or I will drop you off this waterfall and watch you go splat. Chrome didn't flinch. He was just like, I'm too real for this, dog. You ain't gonna do nothing. And then he ended up getting saved. And then the way he does what Senku does on a smaller scale, to like, he knows little things. He knows little things that no one else knows because he's also a sciencer, as he calls it. He understands those things. Decides, you know what, I'm gonna work with that, and bada bing, bada boom, I'm gonna find a way around this, and boom. Then he figures out a scenario. How he broke out of his cage. Legendary. He was just like, I know a little bit about science. I know how to use like some low-key dynamite. Like, I can figure this stuff out. And then he does. And then of course you just have him always being ready and willing to explore, using his knowledge of different rocks, stuff that Senku just doesn't know about because he just wasn't around. Chrome uses all his years of experience to help the gang out. That's always great to watch. It's great when Chrome pulls something out of his head, something so strange that you wouldn't initially think it would work, but then it does work. It's like I said, he's smaller scale Senku, and that's great. Like, he's looking up to his predecessor in a really respectable way. Another character that I think is great, and like shockingly great, like I wasn't ready, Francois. Francois was like, I thought they were gonna, because I have no idea. Like, that's the joke. I don't know what Francois is, but Francois, I thought they were just gonna be like the accessory to Ryusi, but no, like Francois is their own individual character, full and full, super loyal, super skilled, and just like basic upkeep of stuff. You can tell that whatever sticky situation that Ryusi got himself into, Francois was always there to help him out. Figuring out how to cook and store food for them was the important part of being able to make it so that they could travel long distance all the way to the Americas without having to worry about food. Constantly recreates older delicacies to keep morale high, makes a bar, does so much. Like, Francois does so much of the little stuff that you wouldn't think is important. Like, well, actually, no, the food was very important. Obviously, the food crossed the entire ocean. That was very important for their travels and stuff like that. They needed that. However, the stuff like making a bar so people can have drinks to keep morale up across a long journey, so simple yet so important. The way completely ended up remaking ice cream to end up gaining the trust of Luna. Little stuff like that, where Francois works with Senku, works with the other members to make. See, I don't want. And like, it's not necessarily that Francois is that complex of a character. It's just that Francois is really, really solid at what Francois does. Like, everything from upkeep to cooking to creating to stuff like that. Really, really solid at doing what they do, and that's amazing to watch. Every single time something's about to be made, or it seems like we run into a problem that could fall under Francois' field, Francois takes care of it. And that's really, really impressive. That's really, really good. That's a character niche that, admittedly, no one else has. Francois is really, really solid because you can bunch a lot of these characters under certain niches, and then that they kind of overlap in that sense. Like, there are a whole ton of fighters in the Petrification Kingdom, especially now, but no one else fills Francois' niche. No, not a single one. And that's really, yeah, I think I may slide Francois off to perfection, like just underneath Senku's dad, because that's really, really solid stuff. Like, Francois' function, they fulfill it every single time they need to, and that's really, really good. That's really, really solid, because very few other characters can do that. Every single issue that gets presented in their field, they fix it, and that's really, really good. So, I'm gonna have to get to my boy Gen. You know I gotta put my boy Gen up in Divinity. Like, who do you think I am? My boy Gen? Like, my Gen's arc, like, because, you know, Gen's a mentalist. Gen's like a lying deceiver. It's in his nature. But the way this boy became so loyal, like, he was revived by Tsukasa for his mental fortitude. Like, a lot of, like, it was called the Kingdom of Power for a reason. But a lot of Tsukasa's army were really just meatheads. Like, you had Ukyo, you had Hyoga, who wasn't full meathead, and you had Tsukasa himself wasn't full meathead, and of course, like, Nikki. But a lot of the people Tsukasa was reviving were stronger individuals. Like, they knew how to fight, They could run someone's fade if necessary. Bada bing, bada boom. They just couldn't run Tsukasa's fade because Tsukasa was Tsukasa. But he revived Gen specifically because Gen was such a threat, not on the physical scale, but on the mental scale. The way he works, the way he lies, the way he integrates himself. And the way you throw up Gen as not necessarily a rival, but like a contest to Senku. And the way they feed off of each other and this constant back and forth. Like this, that lasts. Like this is not even just, initially he goes there and then I believe he just straight up tells Senku the truth. Like, bro, I'm here to integrate, figure out what you got, and ready to go. So, let me be real with y'all. If y'all don't figure something out, Tsukasa's gonna roll through, he gonna destroy y'all. And it's simple as that. So y'all better figure something out real quick. And y'all better, better grease my hands real quick. Put some money in my pocket if you don't want me to go snitch right now. And the way like Senku plays the mentalist game on a mentalist in Gen is what's so amazing. It's just like, okay, so you're working for the Kingdom of Power. What are they gonna provide for you? And Gen's like, what do you mean? Like, you definitely aren't gonna get what we could have. And then Gen's just like, what could you have for me that I can't get over there? I have food, women, all the stuff I want, blah 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 blah. And then Senku's just like, what about soda? A bottle of pop. And the way Gen ends up just like falling into that, and the way he's just like, man, I'm really about to betray my entire whole faction real quick. That is so good. It's so, you wouldn't think it'd work, right? Like, it's just one bottle of soda. But that one bottle of soda for Gen represented so many different things for the Kingdom of Science as a whole. Because if they could bring this back, what else could they bring back? They could bring, and in short, they could bring back a whole lot of things that the Kingdom of Power would never bring back. And that's solid stuff right there. The way Gen turns, and then proceeds to always, like, there's always this light tension, but it's not as heavy. Like, it's not as heavy as the looming threat of repetrification that could just happen worldwide when no one's prepared. But the looming threat that Gen always seems like ready and willing to turn for a better situation, but you always understand that, nah, to this point, he's loyal to Senku. He completely understands Senku's thought process. That I understand. That is really, really good. Because Gen has such a strong-willed mindset. And the way, and I don't mention it a lot, but the markings that they all have. I feel like Gen's is such a solid one because it always changes. If you'll notice, whenever it's drawn, it's typically drawn in different ways depending on Gen. If Gen's like a minor character in the background, it's just the normal, like curve around his mouth. But the teeth sharpen, they grow, and it shows like Gen's prowess at what he does. And what Gen does is plays a mental game so strong. Like Gen in the current arc. Let me just not even mention the many times Gen has outplayed someone. Like Gen versus Mozu, great. The way he got Mozu to say yes in his head, then say yes verbally, or to convince Mozu, who was the ultimate threat to them at that point because they had no solid fighters. The way that worked, beautiful, fantastic. But Gen in the current arc, the guy is so good at lying that he literally passed the lie detector test. He has such quality control over his body that he's completely good to go. Stuff like that is Davidic. It's quality, because every time he gets put in a scenario, he'll always bring out a new mental trick. I think that's what I like so much about like characters like Gen, characters like Francois, characters like Senku. They always have something else in their bag of tricks. Their bag of tricks seems small at first. Like, oh, they're just a cook / brother. Oh, they're just a psychologist. Oh, they're just a scientist. But every single thing that they have that they can just delve deeper into, keep pulling stuff out of that bag. And every time something's pulled out of that bag, it's really, really good. Solid. Really, really solid. Like it a lot. Shoutouts to my boy. Yeah, you up in Divinity for a reason, my guy. Looking at my boy Kinro. Nope, it is not Kinro. Yep, you're right. Am I bad? I had to look that up because Kinro. No, Kinro's the good fighter. Ginro. My boy Ginro. Like he's at the bottom of the grade. He would have been okay before the petrification arc, because I didn't find his gags all too funny. But like after the petrification arc, where he has that moment of self-sacrifice, like where he understands the situation so thoroughly. He's just like, nah, I have to do this so we can succeed. Man, I'm really about to get petrified right now. Or I'm really about to die for this right now because I gotta let this information get back to Senku. It shows how real, like, Ginro is. A lot of these characters, they're extreme versions of what they should be in real life. And Ginro is that to a fault. Almost to a fault. Like, he is a living, walking, breathing gag most of the time. And honestly, in terms of his overall niche, like the fighter niche, he doesn't fill it that well. You have way too many better options, including his own brother, Kinro. But then, not to talk of your Mozus, your Sukamasas, your Hyokas, like all these powerful warriors. But if I had to say who I think has like such a quality moment of growth, not even growth, just a showing of what good character they have and like how real they are for their friends. Like, Ginro has a lot of subtle moments for that, like little subtle things, like him jumping out, swimming all the way to the boat, and then rolling up and being like, yo, I did this to look good in the eyes of the woman, but I'm gonna stay back. But then he ends up getting dragged to the boat by Taiju, and he's just like, I guess I'll hold this L and I'll run with you guys. And then he stays. And then, of course, you have his big moment where he sacrifices himself for the Kingdom of Science to get that information back to let the rat escape without getting caught. I feel like that's really, really solid for him. That's his biggest moment. That's why I like him so much. That's why he's in the bottom of the grade. Because I feel like he shoots up so much character-wise for me because he was willing to do that. And of course, you know, like, oh, he was getting petrified, so yeah, he knew he was going to come back. But even still, in that moment, the willpower that must have taken, and how much thought had to go into that moment of, well, we can still fail after this. Like, in his mind, they could still fail, and he may have just gotten himself killed for nothing. The way that works, I still think it's really, really solid. I think Ginro, really, really good, really, really great, all around. He works fantastically. Homura is, where did I put Homura? Actually, you know what? Just because her niche is really, really good. I know you guys are just like, wow, you're putting a lot of characters in great, and I think a lot of characters in still are great. And Homura is once again like a very simple character, but she also brings, like, it's relatively underutilized, obviously, because she just got re-released and there aren't really many points to use her type of ability. But the way she works, her relationship with Hyoga is what intrigues me the most, honestly. The way she respects him as an individual and invites him. That's really good. The way she's sort of a modern version of Kohaku, but that simply can't fight. Like, they both have speed, and if you know me, I like speed in my characters. Like, I like characters that function a lot with speed and agility and dexterity and stuff like that. And due to being a gymnast, Homura has a lot of that. And the way you have this conflict with her up against Kohaku, with how they end up going back and forth constantly, and the way she ends up reading Kohaku is just like, two things. One, you aren't really trying to kill me, you're trying to incapacitate me. Two, your movements, while very, very good, don't have the same refined level that I do because you don't have those years and years of proper training. And that's, I think it's one of the few times, but one of the very important times where we see the difference between the Stone Age people and the people of the modern era that were petrified. Like, the modern era people may not be as physically strong or may not have like the type of biology or information of the modern age, modern quotation marks, the new Stone Age, to keep up with they have all that. They have those advantages of knowing the land better, being around longer, understanding the situation of the world better, but they don't have those trainings, that training. They don't have modern combat. They don't have a lot of little things that are actually relatively necessary, and that gives them an edge in a fight, which makes up for their lack of their understanding of the current world. I like that little dynamic, that constant thing that is technically always there. Like, you'll never forget that, oh yeah, there are a whole ton of people were petrified for 3,700 years, but when it's a little brought up like that, and I believe Homer was one of the first people to bring that up. Like, obviously, you have your initial Senku versus Chrome, but in terms of the physical sense, Homer is the first person to bring it to the table. The way she works with Hyoga, impressive. Her relationship with Hyoga, impressive. I hope she gets more. She's definitely at the bottom of great. Like, I think almost every other character I'm talking about, maybe not. Nope. I see one character that I know, 2 characters that I know won't be, 3 characters that I know, a lot of characters that I know won't be going higher. But yeah, definitely leading towards great for her. Now, Hyoga. Bro, I like Hyoga a lot. And I think it's because, what is it? What do I like about Hyoga so much? Like, I've sat down and thought about, I think about my tier list before I talk about them. So, Hyoga was like, no doubt in my mind going in perfection before I even started this tier list. Like, and if I talk about him too long here, he may go higher. But I like Hyoga so much because he is dangerous in a way you wouldn't expect. Like, he is a straight up villain. Like, hands down. Like, there isn't much to Hyoga in the sense of, like, Tsukasa had a twisted view of morality where he wasn't afraid of killing the people of the past if he thought they were threats, and like destroying statues. He didn't care about that. However, what Hyoga did work with, that's what Tsukasa had. He had that slight layer of moral complexity where he had his ideals. He was very similar to Senku. He wanted to revive certain people, he just didn't want to revive everyone. My Hyoga, my man, was just a pre-patch Dr. Zeno. He was a whole villain. Like, he just wanted to take over everything. And he was psychopathic in that sense. But that's really, really interesting because the way he laid low, the way he stayed under the radar, like, he was always there. My boy has a mask, even like Akashi out here with flat hair. But he always seemed so, like, he was in the background of your mind. But obviously the main threat was Tsukasa, right? Tsukasa was the best battler. You know, he had everything else that no one else really had. You know how it is. Like, you know, man, Hyoga's there, but he's not really a threat. But then the way he turns around at the end of the arc and finally waits for every last little thing to fall into place. And he's just like, finally, dog, you don't know how long I was waiting for your little sister to be revived. So he attacks Mirai. And then Tsukasa sacrifices himself for that. And then nearly ends up dead. And then you have, like, literally one of the best fight scenes in the entire series where it's injured Tsukasa versus a fully fine Hyoga. No, it's an injured Tsukasa and already Senku against Hyoga. And that fight was because you understood, like, Hyoga was one of the generals. Like, he was one of the leaders of the Kingdom of Power. And you always necessarily wondered why. And then you saw him use his pipe spear. The way he fights is also just very, very interesting because he comes to a lot of what Tsukasa has is technique. And a lot of what other characters like Magma and a lot of the bigger buffer characters, and Mozu especially, they have a lot of power. They're very physically threatening just on the battlefield. Because if they swing and they hit you, it hurts a lot. You're done, son. But where it gets interesting is when it comes down to how that power is used. Hyoga is once again the fighter. But the way he fights, one, he doesn't fight with his fist like Tsukasa does. Two, he fights with a variation of the spear, but the pipe spear, and the way he moves it, the way he distracts his opponents with how it spins and how much force comes behind it. The way he thinks and moves and acts and fights, all that really compiles in the way, I like how he was redeemed. Not necessarily redeemed. I like how he was summoned. Like, he was like the Petrification Kingdom's trap card. Like, because in the moment, they literally had very low fighters, and Senku rushed back to the boat, and he just drops some depetrification juice, depetrification fluid on Hyoga's cage, and they're just like, yo, what's that gonna do for you, dog? You ain't got nothing. But then Hyoga rolls out, and he gets the pipes, and we're just like, I know, y'all revived me. It ain't cause y'all just want to have a conversation. Who do I need to fight? And then he rolls up like Mozu in the entire kingdom of the Petrification Kingdom arc was like this constant looming threat, and I'll get to Mozu. And the way Hyoga rolls up, it was just like, actually no, he just has a regular spear, that's right. And initially he has a regular spear, and Mozu's like holding his own for a bit. Like, Hyoga's literally on the back foot. But the way Hyoga flips the script on Mozu so hard, the moment he gets his proper weapon, bro, that was such an epic moment because so many things came together in that moment. Like it was a calculated risk by Senku that Hyoga didn't just flip and kill them all and join the Kingdom of Petrification. The way he quizzes Mozu inquisitively, like, what would you want to do? Like, if I were to join you, what would you do to these people? How would it work out? And the way Mozu fails the test by just saying he wants to get with pretty women, and then they end up fighting, and they have that ideological agreement and like conversation and talk, all that stuff, and the way they both get petrified and end up getting saved and just become part of the crew. And then Hyoga, there's something to talk about with Hyoga, and then Hyoga ends up, like, he becomes a very important advisor to the Kingdom of Science because Hyoga thinks in a way that Dr. Zeno thinks. He thinks like a villain. Like, Tsukasa was an antagonist, but Hyoga was just a straight up villain. He was in Ibarra. He was in Ibarra. He was a villain. And the way he thinks is so integral to how they're going to have to fight Dr. Zeno, because they both think in that less than human way, and that's really interesting to watch. Hyoga's perfection, like 12 out of 10, great. Ibarra, I think my boy Ibarra, he's really good. I like his name, Ibarra, but Ibarra is really solid for the fact that you wouldn't expect much from like this random old man. Like, who? Like, Ibarra who? Like, what is he gonna do, right? But he has this presence about him that is like unnerving from the start, and he has a lot of imagery of him as a monster and inhuman, and you see it with how he ended up petrifying the original leader, the way he tried to get Soyuz killed as a baby, all these things. Like, he gives me a lot of Scar vibes, like Scar from the Lion King. He gives me a lot of those vibes where he's a slimmer man. Like, he's obviously not the strongest of the Petrification Kingdom. Yeah, Mozu right there. But the way his mind works, the way his villainous nature ends up feeding into his character, and how he basically kills Gimra, and just he's such a ominous threat for what he is. Like, for man and getting up there in age, you wouldn't think he's such a threat, but he honestly, thanks to his mind, thanks to the way he thinks, and thanks to the petrification weapon, he tears through the entire Kingdom of Science. He launches the assault, ends up petrifying all of them at first, goes absolutely nuts, tearing through every last person, ends up petrifying everyone again, outplays everyone by having Arashi run all the way up to the center of the island, and then release the petrification wave everywhere, freezing everyone again. All that little stuff like that, the way all of that works. Ibarra is all really solid though. Like, I'd say he's, just because of how much he does for one person, I'd say he's just as good as, if not a slightly better villain than Tsukasa, because of what presence he has, what he does, the amount of acts he performs, the way he literally, Ibarra's loss in general came down to Senku just knowing a little bit more. It was that little extra bit that cost Ibarra the match. Stuff like that, really good, really solid. I like stuff like that because it's little things that when you look at them, you're just like, yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. Every single play for what Ibarra could do in those moments was the best optimal play. It was the most optimal play, and it's really interesting to watch. Really good. Ibarra is super solid, fantastic villain, great. Kaseki, my boy Kaseki. How do I say your name, man? I'm not sure. The old man of the group. My boy. He is so integral, and the way, man, there's so many things to talk about old man Kaseki. So, he once again, he's like your Hamura, he's like your Francois, he's like your Gen, where he has a very specific niche that only he can film. No, he is the only person that has the level of crafting skill he has from decades of experience. Probably over half a century of experience at this point. And he's the only one that can do it. And the way he was so lonely at first, like he just didn't have anyone to share his passion with, and like no one really understood him. And he thought when he finally met people who kind of shared his passion, kind of understood what he was, he was just like, oh, but they're so young and they won't ever identify with me. But the way Chrome and Senku are just like, nah, we're science bros. Come on, roll up real quick. And the way he gets so happy, and that he's finally found peers, and that those peers respect him and treat him with respect, and always give him interesting things to do. They never devalue him for his old age and stuff like that. And the way he's so passionate about all his projects, really, really good. Really, really solid. Perfection. And I just love a lot of his reactions. Of course, you have the gag where he puffs up and he's super ripped underneath and he keeps tearing off his clothes. That's always funny. But then, of course, you have his moments where he's just like, wow, I just got petrified and depetrified. Yo, that's my first time. Yo, if I get two more, can I get the fourth free? Like he has so many good little gags, but he's also really, really useful. A lot of things wouldn't have happened without him. And that is really, really solid because that's really what you want. If you want an ensemble cast, like this is the trick that I feel like a lot of other manga struggle with, a lot of other manga fail with. If you want ensemble cast, you can do it. Like I said, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Who are you? Oh, wait. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Like, you can have a really solid ensemble cast, but what you need to do from RIP, you need to have characters all fill a very unique function. Kaiseki has a function only he can fill. And if you have characters that overlap in functions, like you have multiple fighters, have them fill out a niche that no one else does, whether it be in the fighting tier or in another niche, and we'll get to that. I think Kaiseki's really solid because no one else can do what he does. That's all really, really good, really, really impressive. The way he leads, the way he comes along, everything about Kaiseki, perfection. Just straight up. Kinro. I think he's funny. He's like, and to be fair, he's one of the few exceptions where he is a fighter. I mean, he has his gag of being like, the rules always matter. And of course, he's funny to do, and that's why he's at the bottom of great, because he has many good moments. Like, when he gets Suki's glasses on top of his head, and we get that horrifying image, fantastic. The way and he's also like, he's funny, and he's also very like, how do I say this? He's a very loving character. Like, he cares for every last person that he knows and learns alongside and grows with. Like, he cares for his brother so much. Like, he's so proud of Ginro for everything he did, and he's always really, really proud, always really expressing his care for other characters, always expressing his thanks for like the glasses he got. Everything really, really, really works out for Kinro. It's just that he doesn't have much, right? Like, he is like, did I say the one exception to the rule? I think he may be like the one exception to the rule where he doesn't necessarily have a niche that he fills out in his fighting tier, except for his personality and character in of itself, because he doesn't necessarily have a perk that no other character has. So we'll give him that. He's at the bottom of great because I think he's better than every single character beneath him, but I just don't think he goes any higher than that. I don't really have much to say about him. That's the sad thing. Kirisama. Now I know she has like a fraction of the screen time that Kinro does, but I like Kirisama a lot. One, because you have another niche. Like, though not even here, before I even get into that, Kirisama as a character, like a person who was misled by Ibarra and ends up realizing the error of her ways far too late, and ends up paying the price for it. And the way she ends up learning and growing from it is just like, I need to atone for what I've done, all the wrong mistakes I've made, the life I lived, and avenge the person who raised me up, the great leader. I like her, like, it's a very succinct character arc, like, where she goes from, I'm one of the villains, to now I'm one of the good guys because I need to atone for what I did. But it is that. It's a character arc, its growth, and it's really, really impressive to be done over such a period of time and not feel rushed. But because the events she went through were so like stark changing, like direct, like Kibar betrayed her directly. The truth was revealed. The lie she believed was revealed as a falsehood so directly and so quickly that she really didn't have time to react. And the way she has to deal with it afterwards is what really impressed me, is what I think is great. And how she became part of the crew. Like, honestly, I expected Mozu to become part of the crew, because Mozu, I wasn't ready for her. And then it just really realizes. It made me realize her niche as one of the fighters, because like, oh, well, she's not the strongest, she doesn't have the best technique, but her throwing arm, her fantastic aim, her ability to understand the direction and weight of objects and how to throw them is super integral. Like, there was a reason she had the petrification weapon the entire time, because she knew how to read a situation like that really, really well. And the way it comes in recent chapters, the way she took down the fighter plane. If she wasn't there, I'm not sure if Ukyo could have done that. And Ukyo's really good at what he does. He's a good archer, but I'm not sure if he could have performed the same feat that she did. And it's always those little niches where if you remove this X character from X situation, can another character fill that spot? I can't confidently say another character could have done that with the same proficiency and excellence that she does. So it's really, really great. Kohaku. I believe Kohaku's up in perfection for the fact that she, one, introduces us to the entirety of Ishigami Village. If without her, we wouldn't have that. We wouldn't have basically a lot of the cast if it wasn't for her. And I think the one niche she has, like her eyesight, is really, really interesting, because it leads to so many discoveries that are necessary, like the oil, which would have been taken forever to find without her. The way she fights was extremely good and allows her to teach and improve other fighters. The way she has this like native trust in Senku, and I feel like they play off each other very well, and that's always interesting to watch. And her personality, how she is tomboyish, where in the sense that everyone calls her a lioness or something like that, because she is one of the strongest, one of the best fighters, is the best fighter of Ishigami Village alone, constantly dominating Magma just to keep her sister safe. And I think that's another thing I like about her a lot, how she put in so much work for her sister, because she loved her sister that much. Always bringing her water, always slowing down the pneumonia. That's really, really good. And the way she just keeps going, and the way she ends up sacrificing herself too, alongside Ginro, all the little things that Kohaku does really make her perfection. Like, I could go on for forever, but I kind of don't want to, because I know this is going on for a while. I need to start timing myself on these, because man, I haven't even gotten to Senku yet. Yeah, Kohaku definitely perfection. Great design, great character, great niche, everything very important. You're definitely okay. I don't remember your name, reporter lady, but but you can't go in great. Like, she has her niche of knowing people, and that's very, very important, and we wouldn't get Ryusi without her. I don't know what I would do if we didn't have Ryusi, because Ryusi's fantastic, and I get Ryusi, but she's really okay. That's really all I got for her. Mirai, also okay, but I like Abominable Cage. She's really a plot device for Tsukasa to end up losing, and for him to have to team up with Senku, and bada bing, bada boom, understandably so. But I understand all that. Like, she filled her function in the story very, very well. That's all I can really give her. Mozu, my boy, my lad. Mozu, shockingly, like, I'll be completely real and honest with y'all. Hold on one second. I'll be completely real and honest with y'all. I wasn't expecting much from Mozu. I thought the entire focus would be on Ibar. But the way we had Mozu as a secondary antagonist throughout the entire petrification arc, and the way he ended up working alongside the heroes, what was always a looming threat, as in, like, I'll betray you at any second. It takes 5 seconds for me to turn around and kill you all. I like that. I like that a lot. I like how he has his own internal motivations, but they're super simple, but the way he plays them are really interesting. And of course, I think his fight with Hyoga is fantastic. A lot of things, just all around. Really, really great for Hyoga. Not Hyoga. Really, really great for Mozu. And I like, once again, he's a showing of, like, technique versus power. Because Mozu is extremely powerful, like probably one of the strongest characters in the entire Dr. Stone verse because of his physicality. But where he falls off is his technique, and that shows when how Hyuga dominates him in the fight once he gets his proper weapon. Because skill versus power, and that's a really good arc for Mozu to have, because he believed power was everything, and he was a very simple man, but he learned the hard way that power wasn't everything, and that there was more to grow from, more to learn from, and that he could gain a lot from working with the Kingdom of Science, just like Hyuga ended up gaining a lot by working with the Kingdom of Science. I think that's great. I'm sorry, I know I'm blazing through right now, but still need to get to things. Nikki's okay. Actually, no, Nikki's also bottom 3. No, I can't put you above Kim Miller. I like Nikki a lot just for how she turned and the way she was such an integral part to not end up leaving. Like, if you put, once again, if you remove Nikki from the situation she was in, where she was the one watching over Taiju and Yuri Zahara, then everything would have fallen apart. There's no way another guard wouldn't have snitched, and the communication device would have been destroyed. Months of work gone, everything destroyed. Bada bing, bada boom. Great. And I like how she ends up helping Gen fine-tune his voice to properly match like Weinberg to trick a whole bunch of people, stuff like that. But she falls off, not necessarily falls off, because she plays a very important role of keeping the crazy people in check. She keeps Magma and Yo in check, and that's fantastic. I find it very, very funny. That's why she's at the bottom of the grid. She fulfills an interesting niche, which is preventing other characters from fully executing their niche so they don't die. So the plan doesn't fail. She stays a watchdog, but I think it's really, really good. Lillian, okay. Top of okay though. She's very, very important. She keeps the 100 Tails, told Senku of that, figured out everything, his connection to the past, the creators of the village, all that. Once again, sort of used for other characters and their growth and development, good established character stuff. Not necessarily much of a character right now for herself. That's my only issue. She has her little moments where she's apparently a lot like Kohaku, where she wants to move around and be active and stuff like that, but she just couldn't because she had pneumonia for years. I think that's fine. I think that's pretty good all around. Ruri. Did I call her Lillian? Ruri. That's her name. If I called her Lillian, I'm not sure if I did. Ruri's actually pretty solid. I just think she's okay though. Ryusi. Now, for a character that was so recently introduced, I wasn't expecting to slide my boy up into divinity so quickly. But Ryusi provides Senku a challenge, and like, not Senku a challenge in the mental or like science sense, because no one can provide Senku a challenge until we get to Dr. Zeno, who's now a challenge for Senku on the science side, so that's always interesting. But a challenge for Senku leadership-wise, because like Gen was always a challenge for Senku, like psychology-wise and mentally, because that's how they work. It's just that's what Gen was there for. But the way that Ryusi challenges Senku, like the whole poker game, the whole idea of Ryusi being honestly just as important as Senku, because he has so much knowledge of navigation in the world and ships and stuff like that. Once again, if you did not have Ryusi, no other character could fill his niche. He's a solid quick thinker. Like Senku's a very good quick thinker himself and a very good long-time planner. But Ryusi in the moment, him saving Tsukiya in that moment, kicking her, hiding her under a barrel, all that stuff like that. The way he's so brash and seemingly non-caring, the way he respects and cares for everyone in a way, in a sense, all of that, really, really good, really, really solid. Straight up divinity. Like, he provides something once again that no other character provides. Not only in his niche as navigator, but he also fills that niche as a really solid challenge for Senku, which is hard to do because Senku's very, very good at what he does, very, very good as a leader, shockingly enough. Ryusi provides that. Honestly great. Honestly divinity. Great character that always competes with Senku again. Like up there, he's one of the leaders of the Kingdom of Science for a reason. Like he was so recently introduced, but he does so much. It's understandable. You know what? Since I've been going in order so far, we're gonna address Senku. Like, you come ask me on a different day, and like these top 3 characters can constantly stay shifting. Who's my favorite right now? I think Gen's still my number 1 for right now. But Senku, whew, my boy is wild. Like, in every way, shape, or form, my boy is nuts. Like, dumb, crazy, stupid. Like, he's Senku Ishigami. Ishigami. Senku Ishigami. My boy is the main character. He's figuring out everything. And, like, what I like about Senku so much is that he isn't really a fighter. Like, he is one of the skinniest and weakest. Like, he couldn't even hold down Homo. I know Homo is, like, physically strong, but she's smaller than him. Couldn't hold her down. But the way he uses his mind is his ultimate weapon, and I wish we saw more of that in other shows and series, because Senku outthinks everybody. He thinks so fast, so well, so amazingly. Like, Senku's a pro at what he does, and I hate to say it, but he has that niche. If you take Senku out of the series, we wouldn't have a series. We just tell you that straight up. Like, there's nothing. There would be no series without Senku. Obviously, well, he's the main character, but what he does as the main character can't be replicated by someone else because of his specific knowledge, his specific abilities, his power set. It's so weird to describe it as a power set. His mind being his ultimate weapon is such a thing, such a powerful thing that I've gotta respect it. I have to, because it's great. I can't see one thing that Senku can do that no one else can. No, I can't see anyone else doing what Senku can do, and that's great. He's divinity for a reason. Like, and he has his little moments of development, and the way he comes off, once again, like Ryusi, he comes off as a character who doesn't care about anyone else or what they think, but in actuality, he's a really nice, caring person who believes in humanity first and foremost. He doesn't want to rule them. He wants to revive them. He cares for people, and that's really, really good. Man, I wish I'm making all 3 divinity characters getting video. I have to go write scripts. I think I may have to go write scripts. Soyuz, okay, but like even less okay than Ruri, because I don't know. I know like Soyuz was a good tie-in for the Petrification Kingdom arc, but he doesn't necessarily have enough personality. He has a sad backstory, but that's like all I can give him. Didn't have much of a niche to fill. He's just muscle. I don't find him funny. I know he's not supposed to be found funny, but stuff like that. He doesn't do much for me, but he is okay. Yo, I know y'all ain't ready for this one. Y'all ain't ready for this one. Yo, Sukiya, divinity, dog. Like, if you sat here and told that, like, maybe 5, 6, 7-year-old girl was going to be one of my favorite characters from a cast of legendary characters, I'd be like, bro, you're bluffing, you're lying. There's no way they can do so much with that. Yo, Sukiya stretches. Like sometimes I look at what Sukiya does, I'm just like, yo, they didn't actually make a character of that age. Yo, did they actually make a character of that? Yeah, they did. That's impressive. That's impressive. Like, Sukiya blows my mind every single time they give her something new to do, because the way she just does things, the way she figures certain situations out, is just like, oh, I know how to fix this that you can't do it. Like, Sukiya's ability to hide, Sukiya's ability to investigate, Sukiya's ability to integrate without being seen, all that stuff is a niche that only she can fill, and the bravery that this little girl has, like, she's probably braver than me. Like, not even gonna lie. Like, Sukiya's fan-freaking-tastic. Bro. Everything about Sukiya's legendary. Like, there's nothing I can say bad about this character. She's great. She has her little moment where she gets her glasses. The reason she covers her eyes up, she squints all the time. She's hilarious. She's useful. She has that knee. Everything about Sukiya's divinity. Like, I can't say a bad thing about her. That's the thing. It's not like I can say bad things about the characters beneath them, but all these characters who do what they do, So fantastic. Look, I can't, literally cannot say a bad thing about them. Divinity for a reason. Sukiya, fantastic character. Top 5, easy. Top 5, easy. Taiju, perfection. My boy. Woo. Man, I really am burning through my time. Yo, Taiju, you're a great guy, my man. He's so simple, but the way his stamina and endurance just never runs out. Like, I wish I had that. Great. The way he, once again, you can't remove him from the series without things falling apart. Like, you wouldn't have killed Fields as fast without him. You wouldn't be able to. Kinro wouldn't even be on the boat without him. And then no Kinro, no sacrifice. Stuff like that. Taichu is very, very simple, but very, very good. He's perfection at what he does, what he performs. Fantastic niche. Really, really good all around. And the way he's the target right now, super interesting. I kind of want to see how he deals with the gunshot wound. I gotta put together, like, it's a matter of having to do it. Like, Tsukazu's perfection. And do I have to go into it? Like, he punched lions to death in his first appearance. Like, a whole panel after he was introduced and revived. My boy's legendary. He's the initial antagonist, but he has this interesting philosophy that's twisted, and he ends up growing from that, and he ends up getting saved by Senku, and he ends up getting his sister back, and the way he proves and fights for everything because of past experiences in life. All that stuff, he's just perfection. Is he at the bottom of perfection? Ah, man, I have to move him up. Like, I gotta move him up to, like, Kyoga level. Tsukazu is really, really good, and I like how he's become part of the crew. That's great. Speaking of great, we got Ukyo. Super solid, super great character. I love how he falls into the understanding of, like, man, I really don't want to kill people. Like, I will join you. I will help you guys out as long as you promise me we are not executing people. And I was like, yeah, bro, we ain't killing nobody. And Ukyo was like, yeah, we're doing it. All that works out fantastically. Once again, his niche. I keep bringing up niches, but he's not only an expert marksman, but he's also able to use his hearing in ways we never before. We wouldn't know who the main threat is when we wouldn't know they're on the moon. If it wasn't for Ukyo. Ukyo's great. Do I move into the bottom of perfection? That's the question. I'm gonna leave him in great. You're pre-patch Kaseki. I think you're. Where's Magma? I just realized, is Magma not on this list? Magma? Oh wait, no, there's Magma. Oh, about to have a heart attack. Ukyo's funny, that's why he's in great. Do I have any other reasoning? No, I just find him funny. That's like all the reasoning you're getting. He's in great because of that. I think he's hilarious. And also he fills a niche. He's a trained police officer, so he has the marksmanship with the empowered weapons. I feel like Yo is going to get a lot more usage now that we're getting, like, at the end of the current arc, where he's going to have access to proper weapons. I feel like he's going to get a lot more use just from his abilities. I think he's great. I think he's funny. I like how he turns. I feel like his interaction with the Chrome are great. His interaction with the entire cast are great. Yeah, the bomb are great for that reason. Yui other characters to go into perfection, because I wasn't like, Yui became a character initially I didn't think was going to like. I was like, oh, she's going to be the bland, generic, one of the main characters loves her, blah blah blah. We aren't going to get much from her, but she has fantastic personality, fantastic niche with her crafting abilities. Everything about Yui once you kind of just hit perfection, just because it's like necessarily she has much development, but her character is so solid. Her interaction with other characters are super solid. I find her funny. Everything about Yui is great. If she had some development, she'd definitely be higher. Or if she had a more interesting mindset, she'd definitely be higher. But for where she is, that's really, really good. Like, perfection, solid. Magma's at the bottom of great, but he's above Ukyo because he's funnier. And he also has some development. Magma, I'm about to throw you up an entire tier. I think I'm about to throw you up an entire tier. The way he goes from a pseudo antagonist to a really, really good person who just has like self-control issues, really, really funny, really, really good. I like it. I respect it. Magma, you good. Magma, Ishigami Village, 3,705. I don't know. I feel like he's really, really funny. And like, there you go. That's like my opinion on Dr. Stone characters. As you can see, it's very heavily weighted towards the top. Like all the actual characters that have like something to them, that they aren't just like character devices or plot devices. I think this series has really, really solid characters, really, really good characters, better than a lot of series I've seen, especially for an ensemble cast. Really, really, really good. Is there anything else I forgot to say? Nah, I think that's it. And I think everyone's where they should be. If I had to rank, Suki, I'm sorry, you're saying about it, maybe I can't put you above Ryusuke, no matter how much the intermediate lord decided he wants to. Let me just see. I honestly think everything like that there is in order, except I think I'll put Taiju and Yuzahara above Francois. Yeah, I think that's good. I think I do like Ibarra more than I like Ikea. And I think I like Mozu a little bit more than Chrome. And I think you're gonna have to slide down a few paces, like right there. And the rest of the bottom I don't really mind. So yeah, there you go. There's my opinion on the Dr. Stone characters. I feel like they're fantastic. I feel like there's a really great cast. Every character that has a purpose is given a purpose really, really well. Bada bing, bada boom. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. I know this is another really long video. If you made it to the end, I'm gonna leave another password for you right here, right now. Stone Doctor. If you made it to the end of this video, please put Stone Doctor in the comment section down below, and I'll know you'll watch the entire thing. Thank you guys so much for watching once again. This is that guy with the pencil, writing off.